This is an AirCore ME109 from Flyzone. Now, the idea of this AirCore system is you've got this part in the middle here that has your motor and your servos on it. And that's what they call the AirCore. It's a separate part, and that lifts right out of the plane. I'm not going to lift it out now for reasons I will explain in a minute, but anyway, it lifts right out of the plane. And the control rods on that attach to the control rods on the fuselage, the actual plane, via little magnets. So this, for example, is your elevator rod. There's your elevator servo. There's your elevator rod in the AirCore, and this is the elevator rod going to the elevator. Now, the problem is that attaches by a little magnet, and it's not that strong an attachment. It comes off fairly easily. Last time and especially the rudder on this one seems to be particularly loose, so I've got the rudder taped on. Now that's the rudder one, and I'm not, the magnet seems so loose and so prone to coming off that I've got the rudder attached. I'm not trusting the rudder to go with the magnets. I've actually got it taped on. Because the last time I flew this guy, I was just coming round in a circuit here, and he just completely lost control as he came round there, and I'm pretty sure it was because the rudder rod popped off. I had no rudder control anymore, and you don't really have time to do anything about it before the plane goes into the ground. They're fairly fast as well. They also, when it initially came, they give you a separate propeller with a separate spinner and things with each model, because you buy the fuselage separately from the AirCore. And the idea was that the propeller was supposed to, there was like a plastic circle on the front of the motor shaft that had little claws in it, and a thing on the back of the propeller, and you were supposed to snap the propeller into that, and that's how the propeller was supposed to be attached to the motor. The first one of these I bought, I've got one AirCore and two bodies, because you can pick the bodies up very cheap once you've got the AirCore, basically. The first one I had was a Mitsubishi Zero, took it off, circled it round fine to just over there, took off, turned round, then the propeller just popped right off in mid-flight. And of course he crashed into the ground, found the plane and found the propeller. Seemed like what had happened was that the plastic piece on the front of the motor had actually broken right in half. At least only half of it was on there when I retrieved the plane. So I ended up putting a standard, it's a standard little aluminium motor mount. You can see it's got a set screw there attaching it to the shaft of the propeller, and then then it screws, the propeller screws on with a nut thing on the front, and that sort of works okay. But I found the original propeller because it had no hole in the middle, because it had this plastic thing on the back to clip it in, so I had to cut that off and then drill a hole in it so I could attach it. In fact, this probably is the original propeller off the Zero, because I don't think I changed it. I've just been using that with the AirCore since. So this is actually, although it's got the spinner off the, it's got the yellow spinner off the Bf-109. That's just pushed onto the the aluminium spinner thing that's holding the propeller on, that yellow foam spinner. The other thing about this is it's SLT, it's Flyzone, so I have to use the NE link on the back of my transmitter here to control it, to control it with the DX9. And they're fairly, they're warbirds. Well, you can get one that's not a warbird, but that actually, forget what they call it. There's a little sort of trainery looking thing you can get like this, but it gets terrible reviews. I've never bought that fuselage because I was told it doesn't fly very well. This is a BF. They're nice scale models. They make a nice job of the fuselages. That's part of why I bought it, because they're nice scale looking models. This is the Bf-109. It's modelled on, I think, Adolf Galland's plane, and there's a Zero, as I say, which I bought first because I've always been fond of the Zero. Anyway, so we plug the NE link into the trainer port, which inherently sort of like turns our transmitter on. And then we plug the battery in. These are the batteries they recommend. These are the specific batteries for these things. These funny little, and they are a 2-cell battery. These funny little 2-cell Electrify things. That's what you're supposed to use. Okay, now what are the controls doing? Okay, well, right aileron, left aileron. Right rudder, left rudder, up, down. I don't trust this thing as much as a used car salesman, frankly, you know. It's... I mean, seriously, would you want... Well, I mean, we're not flying in the plane, fortunately. I would not fly in it, but... I mean, would you want to fly in a plane where the control surfaces were just attached to what drove them by little magnets? And they're pretty little magnets as well, and they're not that strong, as I showed you. It's quite easy to pull them off. It's not like it needs a lot of force. It's a very iffy business. A very iffy business. I don't know. Whoa. Squirrely little bastard as well. Sorry, pardon my French. I don't know. He's barely in control at all. I guess I just stalled him there, but I don't know. Yeah, whoa. Oh, I don't know. He doesn't seem to be flying particularly sensibly. But, I mean, trying to trim these things is just... I'm trying to fly him as mildly as I can, but it's hard to do because you know, he stalls if you put him down much, and I think he's, I don't know, he's not, he doesn't seem to be flying well.
4 minutes.
Is he tail heavy? Seem to have to force his nose down. I can't sensibly trim him much because he's too squirrely. Not in flight anyway. Yeah. Reasonable amount of throttle and some down elevator is what he needs, but I don't even take my fingers off the sticks to try and trim him. I guess he would help, but I mean, I don't know. He would help. I've got the battery, you know. There's not much choice where you put the battery. I couldn't have put the battery any further forward. I mean, hopefully, I don't know whether it came on the video. You could see where I put the battery in. It's right behind the motor. There's not like there's any other choice about where you put the battery. But he's behaving as if he's tail heavy. But, you know, if I keep pushing the stick down all the time, he's not flying too horribly now. I mean, he was messing around before because he kept trying to go up and stall. I'm having to push the stick down all the time, so he needs them down trimmed, presumably. But as I say, I'm not going to try and put it in the air because he's too twitchy for me to want to risk taking my hands off the sticks. But that's what he needs. I mean, you know, he seems to be trimmed okay for direction, and so far his rudder and his rudder hasn't fallen off. And because if his elevators fell off, and as you can see, I pulled them off just experimentally. I you know, twisted the elevator, and it's not that easy. It's not that difficult to pull that magnet right off. It only takes a little bit of force on the elevator to pop that magnet that's holding its control right off. Okay. What can I say? So, I mean, he's not an easy plane to fly. This is a 2-cell. I don't know if I got as far as mentioning it. Yes, I think I did. It's a brushless motor.
Time remaining 2 minutes.
It's a little brushless motor. He also needs to fly reasonably fast. Now, can I bring him into anything approximating a landing? Because, I mean, with those tiny wheels, he's not going to land on the grass anyway. Whatever I do, he's going to turn over, but... yeah, I'm running him very close to a stall here. Let's go in the long grass, I think. Well, because I went in the long grass on purpose there, because he's got such little wheels, I'm rather afraid I just break the wheels trying to land him on the... I don't really like landing in the long grass very much, but he's got, you know, he's got such tiny little and rather weak wheels. See, with little pants on and everything. I'm afraid if I try, and he's got very little prop clearance as well, I'm afraid if I tried to land him on the short grass, something would be very likely to break. So although it's rather wet, I put him down in the long grass on purpose there. We'll have the 0 out again at some point, because unfortunately that means he's terribly wet.
Throttle cut off.
Prob's reasonably balanced, fairly well balanced. Oh well, anyway, so there you are, the AirCore Bf-109. Pretty nice looking plane, but honestly, based on my experiences, I can't recommend this AirCore arrangement, you know, between props popping off and control surfaces popping off. Although they're pretty, I can't really recommend them, but I will get the Zero out at some point and try and fly the Zero as well.